Week 2 of the Bills season tomorrow. Welcome, Bills fans, to another Bills talk. Obviously, we are here with Brandon again. Say hello, Brandon.
Hello.
And this week, a new opponent coming from the NFC, the Carolina Panthers. Now, this is going to be a new Carolina team that we've seen last time, coming with Cam Newton. Going to be a tough game this week, and hopefully an exciting one. The Bills are home again, and the game's at 1 o'clock tomorrow. And before we start with the game, let's just start with a recap of last week's game since we haven't had a chance to do that with a Bills talk. So, would you like to start off, Brandon?
Well, obviously, you know, I was very surprised and excited about what happened. Obviously, not the outcome, but for them to stick with New England, give Brady fits, for him to you know be frustrated on the sideline. It's a step in the right direction. I you know, Everyone's talking about the time management, and that's what the Bills are going to do. They're going to stick to what they believe in. They're not going to change, and that's what I like about this coaching staff. You know, the previous regimes often, at times, changed their philosophies, and look what it's gone. And um, just continuing to do what they're doing, I think is the most important part.
I I get so frustrated every time I see someone complain about the time management at the end of the game. Just because you're that's not milking the clock is not doing anything in that situation. I just want to get it out there. Monroe made the right decision. It didn't work out solely for the fact we didn't execute we didn't execute the plays that were called, and that was something that was gone throughout the game. You could tell with running plays and then just the penalties. We just couldn't execute on the last drive. That was the only problem with that last drive, and that's what you gotta take away from it. It was the right call, but it's not always gonna work. That's the sad truth. But in the 4th and 1, I had to say everyone was so mad that we were punting. But I guarantee you, if we don't make that, if we go for it, there's people who said, "Oh wow, I can't believe we're punting," are gonna be like, "Wow, why would you go for it then?" So it's almost like a lose-lose situation for Marone. But my feelings on the game, like you stated already, it got me excited. They kept up with a team that has been, you know, portrayed as a great team. I think after seeing the Patriots play against the Jets, you can tell that the Patriots aren't like the old Patriots, but still, it's good to hold Tom Brady uh, from long scoring touchdown drives. And my biggest worry still is defense, but we'll get to that later. Um, Now, what was your take on Spiller last week? And let's transition to how you think he will fare this week. Um, I think it was pretty obvious last week he was stuffed. The Patriots are pinning on him, and we can expect the same thing this week against for the Panthers defense. But do you think you'll see any differences with the play calling for the runs or leading up to a running play?
I hope so. I think I hope they'll do more of screen passes for him. It really opens up the offense and really spreads out the field. Um, you know, Screen for Spiller, that can end up easily for a touchdown. Um, but I think they'll go with the same running plays. Um, Even though I think Spiller is most effective when the quarterback is handing it off to him under center, instead of shotgun. But uh, New England, give them credit. They stuffed them. That was their plan going in. I think obviously that's Carolina's. I think Carolina has a better defense than New England. Um, so I think if you get them more involved in the passing game, um, I think it should open up the run a little, hopefully.
And I was saying this last week during times in the game because quite often we were seeing an overuse of the running plays. Even after they would work a couple times, they would overuse it to the point where it just killed it, and then they would just stop it. This week, um, I'm hoping for more option plays, option runs with manual. options with Spiller. Maybe Manuel will take it instead. Because last week I wasn't disappointed that I didn't see that, but at one point or another, I think we got to get ready to start seeing those. And I think this is a perfect week to start doing that, just because it is his second game. You gotta start getting him into more of a that style of offense, because I feel like that's what we kind of want to transition into. I think last week was just trying to ease him into the NFL game, and they did a pretty good job with that. But what a better week than to do it to a guy that he's been compared as heading into his first season, Cam Newton, who's also that dual threat quarterback. So I think, and I hope, that we'll see more play action this week off of the running plays and more option reads in the running plays. And I think that leads up to my next manual this week. Do you want to see more him in the action, more passing, more running? What do you want for him this week?
Well, pretty much both. He, People were questioning his accuracy, and um, I think it was a little inconsistent, but he showed that he can be accurate. That touchdown pass to Stevie was I mean, that was pinpoint.
Fitz
You
couldn't
can't,
do that.
yeah, you couldn't be much better. It was right there. Um, so yeah, I think he ran only like 3 times. I don't know if it had to do anything with the knee, but probably not. Um, I like to see him run more. He's huge. He's big. Um, Also, more opening up the passing game. Um, they had those little flanker routes, those little the little short 4 yard passes. That's all fun and games. That's cool. But try to open it up. Use slants or more slants or whatever. Try to go deep more, as you did in training camp. Um, yeah, I would like to see more read option. You have Manuel and Spiller, so make the defenses guess. I think a lot of times New England sniffed out that, oh, okay, another run to Spiller. Let's
Yeah.
just stack.
And
Let's just stack.
I saw a tweet from the Bills that said Marone said that both of the touchdown throws were Manuel's called audible at the line from Manuel. So I have great confidence that he can, read defenses. I know that was just week one, so it's not nothing big yet, but I have confidence that he can read a defense well during a play. So I think those read options could be really well executed by him in the offense. But for the most part, last week, I I, I had more worries going in about the defense, less about the offense. And after that performance by the defense, you would think going into this week I would have more worries about the offense with the penalties, with just the inconsistency. But I'm still going into this week a little more worried about the defense. Um, just because last week with the corners, that was something we haven't seen in a long time with the Bills defense. And what made it even more surprising was I had the mindset going into this game the secondary was going to be even worse than usual. And Leotis, that hands down, that was the best cornerbacking game I've ever seen by him. I just want to say that, put that out there right now. It was. But I don't know if that was legit. I don't know if I can go into tomorrow thinking we're going to see the same thing or close to it. How are you feeling about the secondary right now?
I'm kind of both. I'm kind of you know, I feel better about it. I think the only thing you have to worry about Steve Smith, and you have to worry about Greg Olson. This is their first real tight end problem, because Greg Olson is no doubt he's a good tight end. Um, but obviously Ron Brooks, yeah, he impressed me, but he's hurt. He had nice tackles, and he covered pretty well. Um, so we'll have to see there. The defensive line concerned me because they barely put pressure on Brady. It was mostly Searcy and Brooks and all those guys that were coming off from cornerback blitzes on third downs, except Kyle Williams.
Yeah. I
I
was
was,
oh,
you know,
continue.
definitely disappointed about Darius. Mario was really non-existent, but Alex Carrington really showed up. Um, so I really to go to your point. What do you think?
Well, I'm gonna go off about the D line because last week, like you said, for the most part, it wasn't there. I mean, now and then, I feel like last week we got more pressure and more hits on Brady than we usually did, but that's still not saying much because usually we get nothing on Brady. So for the most part, I mean, we did better than usual, but that's still not saying much. So yes, this week, not only would I like to see more, a lot more just because, but I think we need a lot more, especially with Cam. Because even if we give him the pressure that we gave Brady last week, that's not gonna phase him. He's gonna roll out of the pocket and scramble, and one or two of those could really hurt us, could really pull through on a huge drive for the Panthers. So what we gave last week to Brady is gonna, I think, hurt us in the long run with Cam Newton even more, because he can throw. He has a monster arm. He has a cannon. He's accurate, and he can run. So the D line, and just the pressure in general has got to step up this week. I was happy with the linebackers, but that D line has got to step up this week, and I
Yeah,
think that's going to be a game changer.
I give a lot of credit to Jim Leonard. Um, I closely looked at him individually at times during the game. He was kind of like that catalyst back there. Telling the young guys what to do. Duke Williams, Denora Searcy, Brooks. Um, he was on defending, he was so close. His timing was just off on knocking some balls that were caught from Amendola. So I think if he can time it right, he can get a couple deflections or maybe even a pick. But just coming in on the week of game day of the first week and really catching on to the terminology, I was really impressed with Leonard.
And for the most part, that whole the backs of the defense, they really did a great job back there. Now and then a few runs got out of hand. They got a couple deep runs, but uh, I think, like we said, just to close it off, that the D line was a game changer last week, I think, and I think obviously we already talked about it. Cam Newton, Steve Smith, Greg Olson, those are three guys for the offense that are gonna really put the pressure on Buffalo's defense. So that, I don't think we need to go any more in detail about the Panthers' strengths, their upside of their team, because I think everyone knows Cam Newton is enough to deal with. And what do the Bills need to do to capitalize on the Panthers' weaknesses?
Well, I think make them just one dimensional. D'Angelo Williams used to be a good running back. I think he still is, but if they can contain him, they also have Mike Tolbert, who's pretty big. He can run over people. Just make Cam Newton throw. Just make the game rely on Cam Newton. I think he's really good, but he hasn't shown that he can take over a game. Um, you know, it's really hard to contain Cam Newton. It's really hard for him not to get 50 plus yards rushing. So, if the Bills can somehow come up with that wacky plays that Mike Pettine draws up and really contain Newton, I think it could be a good day for the defense. Uh, Offensively, again, they have a really good front seven. I cannot stress that enough. But just like the Bills secondary, it's suspect. So I think if they can go deep, it'll really help because guys like Woods, Stevie. I don't think again going. I don't think there's anyone that can cover Stevie on that team. Um, Charles Godfrey, Mike Mitchell. Those are some of their name backs. But other than that, use Chandler. Use Chandler again. Keep feeding him, and some of those weaknesses are in the defensive backfield.
And this week, I think doing a different offensive style than last week. I feel like this week, instead of coming out with a couple runs, I say this week we got to come out with mid to deep passes right off the bat. I think for the most part they're gonna come in thinking we're gonna give it to Spiller first couple plays or try to involve Spiller into some of the plays. I think right away try to give the defensive backs some pressure on them, try to get them off a little bit, and then that could open up more of a running game overall, that which could take away their positive front seven. So this week, I think last week in general was an easing week for Manuel. We were trying to get him into the NFL, try not to stir up some confusion for him or try to give him too big of pressure. But this week, I say we go all out, try to give him his, a game where he makes the difference right away and sets the tone. That's what I would like to see. And my expectations is basically going into it almost the same as last week. I want the offense to show that consistency. Last week it wasn't. The penalties were absolutely killed them, and then the two turnovers in the offensive end were absolutely killed them because that gave the Patriots their only two scores of the day, touchdowns of the day. So I would like to see more consistency on drives, at least drive. I mean, if the drive is going to end, I would like to see not a 3-and-out at least going down at something. But the penalties cannot end drives this week. I, that, if I can see 0 penalties this week, I can see this being a game where it's very exciting to watch this offense. Defensively, going into it, still a little shaky. Don't know how to decide it, but the biggest factor is, like you said, making Cam Newton one-dimensional. And hell, if that even means him only running or escaping away from pressure, I'll take that all day. So, what is your final take on this game?
Uh, just a couple of things. No turnovers. No stupid turnovers. Um, no penalties that just kill drives. The Chandler, the Cordy Glenn, that stuff there. Cleaning the mistakes, I think. Um, Defensively, again, like I said, um, it's making Cam one-dimensional. Stopping the run. I think D'Angelo Williams, just like I said earlier. But getting back to the offense, I think, trying to go deep and staying with the run, give Fred Jackson more carries. I think he was classic Fred Jackson last week. Really just the bull rush of him, um, and just having that same mentality that they did last week. They played their asses off last week, and I think they'll do it week in and week out. And I'm definitely excited for tomorrow's game and really seeing maybe hopefully a different offense and more pressure on defense.
And that'll wrap it up for today. And we are closing out today the same way we started last week. I saw it in the comments right after the Patriots game. We're excited. We're excited to get this season going. We're excited for the future of this team, whether it means losing or winning. This team shows great promise for the future. Bills Panthers tomorrow. If you're watching it, let us know. If you're going to the game, let us know on our page. Hopefully everyone can get a nice view of it. Brandon, any last words?
Uh, Hopefully if we're going to the game, it's gonna be nice. It's gonna be 70 degrees, sunny. Um, I'm trying to get to the comments, but if anything, I'll just answer it on our Facebook page and go Bills and get a W.
And like we said last week, make this an exciting game to watch. Thank you everyone who watched, and we'll see you next week. Go Bills.